There he is.
Dr. Phil, what's going on, bud?
Hey, what's happening, guys?
How are we?
you doing?
Long time since I was in your office.
I know, but we've moved offices since then, in fact.
We upgraded a little bit. The last time we had you in was our office that was pretty much embarrassing, and now we've got a little bit more of a legit setup.
Yeah, you look like you're in the studio there.
Yeah, back at it. And you look like you're in a fake library, I'll be honest. Those books are not real books, are they?
They actually are. This is not a virtual background.
Okay.
I'm in a, but they are staged. It's not like a real library. They're staged, but it is a real background.
They're staged very nice.
It looks sharp. That's all that matters.
It looks like I'm gonna say goth architecture back there.
Oh,
it looks like you're in a
wow.
church.
Yeah,
it's very
sure.
sharp looking.
Yeah. Well, good. So I'm very holy today. Then.
So we just saw a TikTok that you posted right before we got going here, where you were requesting that the internet stops calling you daddy, which is, first of all, it's amazing. That TikTok's amazing. Second of all, the fact that everyone does call you daddy, it sounds like it makes you a little uncomfortable, but it's a huge compliment, Phil. It's a great one.
No, it's just a big joke. There's a trend on TikTok. You've got to stop and then fill in the sentence. So I filled in the sentence, calling me daddy.
By the way, it's a bad sign when Dr. Phil's telling us the TikTok trends.
Yeah.
We gotta get up on our trends.
I
man.
was unaware of that fact.
Yeah, that was a number one trend on TikTok. So they asked me to fill in the sentence. So I was teasing a lot of my followers. We have a lot of fun. They know it's a joke.
That is good, though.
Being called daddy.
If someone says, hey, fill in the blank, you got to stop, and your first reaction is calling me daddy, I mean, you got it going on,
Has
man.
that been going on for a long time now?
Oh yeah, go back, look at my Instagram. I mean, it doesn't matter what I put. I can put up a picture of a bird or a book, whatever. The response is daddy.
Now, what do you think makes someone call someone daddy? Because not to brag, Dr. Phil, but it's happened to me one time. And we were in the sheets, we were mixing it up, and it was a long time ago. It was before it was ever really a trend.
I think his girl was the first person to call him daddy because that was like 10 years ago.
It was not my girl. It was a girl.
The girl he was with. Yes.
And it was 9 years ago, let's say, something along those lines. And I got a daddy in my ear. And I'll tell you what, Dr. Phil, it took me aback very strongly. What inspires someone to say something like that?
What's the psychology behind that?
Well, I think it's I think they're teasing me as an authority figure. I think they maybe see me as the principal at school or something.
I was in school for quite a while. I never called the principal daddy.
Are you keeping up with any of the other internet trends? Because there's a couple others that like have you ever seen on Twitter where they say bumbaclot?
Say what?
Yeah, exactly. They say you just post a picture and you say bumbaclot, and then the people just react however they want to react, right? I don't even know.
It goes viral almost every time I see.
It's just bumbaclot. Next time you want to really, you know what? Do me a favor. Post something on Twitter and just say bumbaclot, and people will go wild for it.
All right, I'll take the dare.
What about the phrase if I say to you, no cap? Have you ever heard that?
No cap?
Yeah. Means like no bullshit, I'm not lying, no cap. You drop that as well, people will be...
I think they threw that one at me one time with Visco Girl and a couple of others that I had no idea.
Yep, you know.
They have great fun humiliating me on the internet, so...
That's what the internet's for.
Yeah, that's really the whole point of the internet.
I'm a willing participant, so it's okay.
How now, I'm going to talk to the Dr. Phil here. How bad do you think the internet is going to affect us long term? Because we talk about this a lot, and you just said, like, they're teasing me and whatnot. And those things are all, you can either ignore them if it's genuine hate, or you can kind of participate and lean into it if it's fun teasing. But either way, I think it's going to have a severe effect on our long-term psychology, let's say 15, 20 years down the road.
Well, there is no question that look how much it's changed. How many times have you walked around, you see people like this? Mm-hmm. You never saw that before, and hey, that's probably going to ruin our necks.
Yep. They actually said that some millennials are almost growing like a bone spur out of the bottom of their neck because their heads are always down.
Yeah, and we're going to have some kind of thumb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, carpal tunnel. We're going to have thumb tunnel or something. But I think I think there are pros and cons. I mean, kids now have no idea that a library is a big brick building with books in it.
Right.
Because you can Google anything. We used to have to go to the library, of course, so that's a big change. I think social skills, looking people in the eye, actually having a relationship, I think that erodes some. But there's great positives to it. There's a lot of power that Gen Z has because they can fact check somebody giving a speech while they're giving it. Somebody can say something, they can fact check it while they're saying it.
Right.
And like, excuse me. So, I mean, there are pros and cons to it. What I hate about it is young people that measure their self-worth and self-esteem based on likes. And they'll put up a picture and it doesn't get as many likes as yesterday, so they feel down. And then they get the haters. They let the haters get to them. And I've dealt with so many stories where particularly girls have taken their own life. One girl hung herself last week, and who knows what all the reasons were, but there was a lot of activity on her internet of people telling her, why don't you just go kill yourself? Nobody likes you. Everybody hates you. And sure enough, she hung herself. Now, was it because of that or something else? We don't know, but I think that's a huge negative.
Well, I think the ability it's given to anonymous folks to be mean, like teasing is not a new thing, right? Being mean at a young age or at an old age, it's been around forever. Being rude and awful to people, we've really perfected it. But now with everyone you can make 10 accounts and she can think everyone's telling her to kill herself, and it's just this one person who doesn't like her, and you don't have to say it to her face, and you can be as rude as possible. There's really no consequences to the actions, and I think you said it good too. With like the picture you posted today didn't have as many likes as yesterday. I'm a 32-year-old adult man, and that bothers me. Right. I can't imagine what it does to
a teenage kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and I call them keyboard bullies. They say things there that they would not say to you in the elevator.
Yeah, right.
If you got in the elevator with somebody, they wouldn't say some of the shit they type out on that because they don't have to face you. And if you've got people that have poor self-esteem or a ill-defined self-image, those people really get to them. The haters get to them, and it bothers them. And I'm fortunately one of those people that does not have the need to be loved by strangers. So I don't really care what they say. I
don't think I have that need to be loved either, but no one likes to be told you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I don't care if you like me, but if you're just always
I prefer you don't hate
it hurts me.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to read trash about themselves on the internet. I mean, trust me, you don't have to need to be loved by strangers for that to bother you. But I think young kids are vulnerable to it. You have insight to it. You understand that it bothers you. And so you're aware of it. Kids don't have the conversation with themselves that you just had with yourself. And so they go back in their bedroom and it really bothers them.
Well, it bothers me in my bedroom too. One of the things we do on our show is we go through a Reddit page called Am I the Asshole, which is it's usually a couple or a person in a social situation asking, am I right or am I wrong? And we ran into two that I thought were very particularly interesting, and I'd like to get your insight on it. The first one was basically a guy in a relationship who his girlfriend and his father both made him throw out. He collected action figures and played with figurines, and that was his passion. And he would wait till everyone goes to sleep at night, and he would play with them, alone. And he knew it was a little bit, immature and childish, but it was, his thing. And they wanted him to throw it out. He said no, and then they just took them and threw them out without asking him. And so the question was like, who's in the wrong here?
And they made it clear that the wife who was writing this article made it clear, like, and can you believe he even cried when we threw away the toys? And
right.
He's a child. He threw a temper tantrum. They put a lot of negative connotations into his emotions.
And we just kind of tackled it as like, I think a lot of times guys particularly are forced to give up, what they like or love, or it's deemed, silly or childish to like some of the things they do. And at the end of the day, we think it's just like that's their hobby or that's what makes them happy. Like, what advice would you give for someone who's in that spot?
She threw all of his stuff out?
Yes.
Her and his father.
His father.
Yeah. I got a real problem with that.
Yeah,
there
thank
we go.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Doctor.
you.
People
The-
thought we
I got
were
a real
crazy because we were on his side.
The amount of people who are like, come on, you're a grown man. You shouldn't be playing with dolls and toys. It's like, yeah, listen, maybe it's a little bit unorthodox, but who fucking cares? Let this guy live.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm not saying I don't care what it was they threw out. Now, if let me be clear about that. If they got in there and found something illegal like child pornography or something,
something
whatever.
dangerous.
Okay, now call the law and put his ass under the jail. But if you're just not liking what he likes and you throw it away, kiss my ass. You don't have the right to throw his stuff away.
Amen.
Like I've got a lot of T-shirts that are, well, I like to call them vintage. Robin likes to call them future rags that you can dust with. But I wear them. I play tennis in them every day because they're comfortable, right? They're comfortable. But they got holes in them here and there. But she would never throw them out because I like them.
Right. Like you just got to respect what your partner likes.
Embarrassed for me to wear them, but I like them. You don't take somebody's stuff and throw them out. What a bitch!
And she made it clear too. It was almost like she was arguing against herself. She made it very clear that they have a happy relationship. That he always makes time for her. It's not an addiction or anything like that. He usually goes and plays with them once she goes to bed. It's his escape. It's his little time to shut himself off from the world,
to get away from his bitch girlfriend,
and just participate in something he likes.
His dad was in on this. His dad needs to mind his own damn business.
That's right. And the problem with it was too. One of the problems, obviously there were a couple, was that she was pregnant, and they were going to use that room that he uses for the baby's room, for the cradle and things like that. What better room to give to a child than a room full of toys? Like, why do you have to clean that room out?
But you know what? You negotiate those things. So maybe if they need the room, fine. I get it. Negotiate it. But you don't go throw it out after he's gone to bed. What's up with that?
And what about this? Where do you draw the line between you're helping someone maybe improve themselves versus you're trying to change them? Like I feel like a lot of times a girl will get a guy to dress quote unquote better, but you're really changing like his style, or we're gonna go to these type of places now. We're not gonna hang out at the spots you used to have. Is there a level of that's good, or is that always like you're trying to change the person and you should just go find a different partner who embodies the things you like?
Look, relationships are negotiations, and the negotiation never ends. It's an ongoing sort of thing. And if you're wanting to negotiate for him or her to change a habit or a pattern, that's fine, but it's always up to them. If they decide, okay, hey, you got a good point, so we'll go to a different restaurant or hang out at a different place or something, that's fine. But you don't dictate it, you negotiate it.
Now, what about instead of negotiation, you just subtly insult it every time they do it? How's that for health?
Well, that's a negotiation ploy.
That's a tactic. Yeah.
Just very subtle digs every time they do something you don't like.
Yeah. So where is it you're going that she doesn't like?
The bar every night.
They got a little too close to home there. I had a feeling.
Just hypothetically speaking on that one. The other situation we ran into was a gentleman who proposed to his girlfriend, and he kind of did it, admittedly, the first time was like they were laying in bed and it wasn't very romantic. He was kind of like, hey, do you want to get engaged? And it was over COVID, right?
Yes.
So it was in quarantine. He couldn't, quite carry out the plan. So he said, let's get married. But hey, I promise at one point I'll give you the romantic engagement. Then he does what he thought was romantic. She said, that still really wasn't what I had planned. He went back to the drawing board again. He did that 3 more times.
One of them took her on vacation. They stayed in like a nice hotel, proposed to her on the balcony, I believe.
Music, like he kept upping the romance.
She also said that one, no thank you.
She kept saying, like, nope, that's still not what I had envisioned, and I want to remember this for the rest of my life, so go back to the drawing board again. I think he ended up having to propose 4 or 5 times, and each time she rejected it. What would you say there, Dr. Phil?
Man, you should have taken that first rejection and hit the road.
Amen. I firmly believe if you propose, you should absolutely know with certainty you've got a yes in the bag. Do you agree?
100%.
Yeah. You can't be like a
100%.
spontaneous thing. It's got to be,
If
you know.
If you really don't know what the answer is, you're not ready to ask.
There you go.
You hit the nail on the head there. There's a reason you're Dr. Phil.
That's the old, if you can't afford it, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's exactly the same thing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like lawyers will tell you. You'd never ask a question in court that you don't know the answer to.
Right.
I mean, you don't ever ask a girl, Mary, if you don't know what she's going to say. Are you kidding me, you idiot?
How did you propose?
We just had our 44th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
And we were together like 5 years before that. And we were spending a whole lot of time together. And she asked me, are we ever going to like get married? And I said, I'm really not ready to do that. So she said, bye.
Really? Oh, wow. And you came running, didn't you?
And that came up right at Christmas vacation when we were in college. And I spent about 2.5 weeks without her in my life every day. And I actually kind of dated around a little bit.
Had a fun 2.5 weeks.
Then I would go home afterwards and call her and talk to her till 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, who am I kidding here?
That's young though. So you were engaged in college?
This was graduate school.
Oh, okay. All right. So a little bit later.
Yeah.
I like picturing Dr. Phil being the no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up, Daddy.
No, I think it was me falling asleep and she was still talking. But after that, it was like, who am I kidding here? So I said, look, you're absolutely right.
Win.
We should definitely get married. Yeah. So
now, how about this? I now things were definitely different 44 years ago. Why didn't she pop the question?
That's right.
How about you get down on a knee and ask me to be your betrothed?
You play a little hardball, Phil.
As I look back on this, I think she was definitely in control of the whole situation.
She knew exactly the whole time. That's what women are great at, making you think that, you have a say in this.
I think it was.
Yeah, always. Another discussion we've been having here in the past couple of days is regarding texting. We were talking about how much you can text and what's kind of a good amount and an unhealthy amount. And I was saying, I found myself in a situation where I text a lot in the beginning when it's, happy and fun and you want to talk to someone, but then you almost set this expectation that you're supposed to text, 18 hours a day. And if you're not texting, then where are you or what's going wrong or whatever? How do you think you should handle that in a relationship?
Well, I think it's really important that you think about it going in because you don't want to set a standard you can't keep or they're going to call you on bait and switch. Okay, when you were after me, it was like you just couldn't text enough. And then now we're together and all of a sudden I can't find you with both hands. So you got to be careful that you don't set a standard that you can't keep. So you got to be real careful and be thoughtful about setting a standard going in.
That's the one I nailed.
So you think like in the beginning, let's say you're really, you're in the honeymoon phase and you're all schmoopy head over heels. I'm going to text her right now. You think you should say to yourself like, no, I'm not going to right now because I got to think about down the road.
Well, there's an infatuation phase and you both have fun with that, but you do need to think about the fact, is she aware of what's happening here? Because you do things early on that you don't do later, but don't set a standard you can't keep. If she's going to hold you to that, you got to think about this. If you start buying huge gifts in the beginning, what are you going to do later?
Right.
It's a hard act to follow.
I'm amazing at that.
John keeps the bar real low.
I'm really good at just being like, look, this is what I am.
This is it. Yeah.
This is what you get. I forget days. I forget to reply to text. I'm not very good looking. This is just what I don't dress up. I'm like, this is it. This is it. You want this? That's your own funeral, but this is it.
Yeah. Then you got nothing to live up to, right?
Right, exactly. Bar has always been on the floor, and I don't bend over to pick it up because it hurts my back.
That's right. You can't fall off the floor, so do what you got.
Amen.
Now, you have season 19 of Dr. Phil coming up, correct?
Crazy.
Yes.
Was that all filmed pre-corona, or did you do that kind of like post?
No, we finished up last season shooting from home because they shut down Paramount Lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we've come back now with very rigorous guidelines with a COVID-19 task force. We can't have an audience. We can't have any guests that are flown in. So they either have to drive in or we have to do them virtually, and our audience is virtual. But I felt like we wanted to have a branded product like they had seen for the last 18 years. So we are back on the lot. We are back on the stage. We've got the screens. We've got the graphics. We've got the video packages. We're delivering what we did the first 18 years. It's not a scaled down version. It's the full Dr. Phil experience that we've had before. But it took a lot to get there, I got to tell you.
What do you think something like this is going to do? Because I know when Corona started and people were talking about mental health and in quarantine, I think everywhere is kind of branched out and there's much less quarantine going on now. But just the 3 months of living in your home, how do you think that will affect people? And even just all the testing and the masks and the fear of fellow humans.
Paranoia, yeah.
How do you think that's going to? Do you think that will have a long-term effect on us, or do you think once we have a vaccine, we'll be good?
I do think it has a long-term effect, and research has shown in other circumstances and situations, loneliness has a profound effect. It has a profound effect on our kids being out of school. They're developmentally delayed. They're educationally delayed. So, I mean, older kids are missing graduation and prom and stuff, and that's a problem for them. The younger kids are not getting the educational experience. They'll be less competitive, and there's research that suggests they may never close the gap. Wow. So this is a profound effect to have this extended quarantine.
It is.
And
sorry to interrupt you.
It's a problem. It's a problem. We need to get back as fast as we can safely do it.
It's one of those things where as an adult now, I look back on my prom and I'm like, oh, who gives a shit? Like, it was a fine night. It was whatever, but it didn't have a major impact on my life. But in that moment, it's the most important thing in the world to you.
Yeah, if it got taken away.
Having that taken away from you is awful.
Yeah, and sports, I mean, and it's not just sports, kids that are into choir and debate team and all sorts of things. Those are experiences that you can't replace, and so they'll miss those. And it pales in comparison to the fact that you've still got your family around you and all of that. There's no question, but the educational experience is going to make them less competitive. I went to a dentist the other day for some minor things, and he's on the faculty of a major university with a dental school. And he said, let me tell you, you don't want to let a 2020 graduate touch you for about 10 years because we graduated them with very little experience.
Oh, wow.
That happened in the medical field as well, right? In doctors, like medical doctors, where it was, they wanted everyone to get out into the task force or be able to help. And they were like, go ahead.
No.
Yeah. No hands-on, no practicum, no, they just didn't have the experience. So that kind of scared me. I'm like, well, hell. Where else is that a factor?
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Dr. Phil? I haven't been to a doctor in 10 years, so I'll just keep that running.
Make it 20.
I'll get you guys in 20
before
years.
you're safe. I don't want to put you on the spot too much here, but one of your contemporaries ran into some issues in the news with Ellen, and I feel like, without knowing what's going on behind the scenes, I feel like sometimes people might confuse, being very successful and being professional and sticking to their ways as like confused with mean or rude or whatever. But do you ever run into any issues like that? I mean, obviously you're a big star in your own right. Is there any concern with like, I have to treat interns or employees or younger members or junior members in a certain way so that I don't get slandered?
Well, it's lonely at the top. Mm-hmm. And, anytime you're the head of an organization, and this isn't just restricted to entertainment, you've seen it in a lot of other areas too, you're going to get pot shotted a lot when you're at the top. And I don't know that I've ever even been on the Ellen show. she and I know each other, and we're very friendly with
That's
each
so
other.
awesome to be like, I'm not sure if I've been on the Ellen show.
Yeah, you would know if you don't.
That would be the highlight of so many people's lives. You're like, I don't know, maybe I did it, maybe I didn't.
Well, it's been a lot of years. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I have been or not, but I don't remember anything about it if I have. So I can't really, and I'm not just ducking. I really don't have an opinion of what it's like over there. I have no idea. I know her, and we're very friendly with each other. She's been to my home, and
Is it something you've been cognizant of, like in your own operation? Like, as time has gone on, maybe people have gotten a little more sensitive, or just the workplace has changed. Now you have to worry about people airing you out on the internet, or is it something that you've always just treated people the same way?
well, you do always have to be cognizant of it. And we've got a situation at Dr. Phil where I've had the same executive producer for 19 years.
Wow.
Same supervising producers. Hell, I've had the same 7 cameramen since the day I started. Well, one of them passed away about a year and a half ago. It was a great guy, passed away. So I've got 6 of the 7 I started with. I've got the same director. I've got the same everybody. So we don't have a lot of turnover there. We've got a great.
Well, I think
pretty
that's a
great testament to you. Yeah.
I mean, I think you're doing something right.
Well, let me tell you, I've got this great knack for getting these gigs where somebody does all the work and I get all the credit. And I'm the first one to admit it. One log won't burn. If they don't put somebody in front of me that's interesting, then I'm just sitting out there staring at the camera. I get it. So
Yeah, but listen, you can put anybody out there, and if you don't interview them right or question them right, it's it's not the same. Don't sell yourself short, Dr. Phil.
well,
If everybody
I
could
got
do
a-
it, they would. So
Yeah, I got a good crew though. I got the best crew in television. They work hard and do a good job, and I let them know it.
all right, well, that's why you're heading on to season 19. So everyone's looking forward to it. And as always, we appreciate the time, and thanks for the advice on the purely hypothetical situations.
Yeah, purely hypothetical.
Who do we like tonight, by the way? Texans.
What's that?
Who we like tonight in Texans Chiefs?
I got to go with the Chiefs.
Chiefs with the
mean,
spread?
Pretty safe bet, I think, pretty much forever.
What
now.
is the spread?
9.
Oh well, now that's a different.
It's a big number. That's a big number.
It's going to
That's
be
a lot-
interesting
that's
this
a-
year with just everything.
That's
with
a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points for the first game, right?
Right, first game, but I think it's all thrown out the window, really. Where it's almost like before big games, are like throw the record out the window. We're just the way every season has always started with just training camps and preseason games, and these guys haven't even tackled yet.
All out the window.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a point bonanza tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was such a fine football player myself that I have I have great expertise in calling these things. I was the shittiest linebacker to ever play the game. So
Dr. Phil, I find that very hard to believe. I've met you. You're a big boy.
Yeah,
You're a big daddy.
You can lay some wood.
yeah. Yeah, but at least I was slow. I was big, but I was slow. That's the
I guess what? I'm slow and not that big either. So at
least you had one of the two,
You got
yeah.
one, yeah.
All right, Dr. Phil. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah.
Phil.
Talk to you
You
next
guys are a
time,
lot of
Daddy.
fun. Let's
Appreciate
do
it.
this again soon.
Anytime.
Anytime. I can't wait.
All right, see you
Good
later.
luck with the show. See you later.